welcome back to my channel. This is Nicole with Made from Scrap, and I'm going to do this quick little walkthrough for you on this quick trifold that I made, and I am using the Photoplay Anchors Aweigh collection. I had 6 sheets of the paper collection. I had the sticker sheet, and then I had 2 My Colors cardstock sheets. I had the Ecru and the blueberry. The other thing that I had was 2 yards of ribbon. This is what I have left of the 2 yards, but I used entirely 1 yard of the other type of sheer ribbon. And then I also had the ephemera pieces, and this is a pack of 26, and I have 5 pieces left here. This is the extent right here of my scrap pile, so this is a wonderful project for using up, you know, a minimal amount of sheets of paper and a bunch of little odds and ends for either stickers or ephemera pieces. Okay, let's get started with the walkthrough here, and I will show you that this little trifold, it measures 6 inches wide and 8.5 inches tall. And then I put here one of the cut aparts on it, and I used some of these ephemera pieces, popped them up on a little bit of chipboard pieces, and then I made this a magnet so that we could still stick a photo in there. Isn't that awesome? And then it's a tie closure, but this is the front, this is the side, the back, and the other side. So I do a full tutorial on this that will follow right after the walkthrough. Okay, on this left hand side here, as you open it up, you're going to see a belly band that slides. So I've layered up some of the ephemera pieces and stickers, and you can just slide that up or slide it down either way. It opens up like this. So here's the bottom. I put a couple more stickers on the bottom. And then you have a couple of ephemera pieces and stickers here, so you could put some photos there. And then on the top, I left it pretty open, just put an ephemera piece there for another photo. And then you can see here that I do have a spot under this little frame of the ephemera piece to be able to stick a photo down in there. And this piece is popped up on some chipboard, and then I have a couple of stickers. There was a little punch out in this little frame piece already that was a heart shaped. I just flipped it over so that you could see it, so that it would be a white in color. Okay, then you open it up and you have another flap here, so a beautiful spot for a photo and maybe a little bit of journaling. Here, used again some ephemera and sticker pieces. Same thing here, ephemera and sticker pieces, and I left this open by gluing only on the top so that a little photo could stick in there. And then open it up one more time, and again, ephemera and sticker pieces for photos. So you have lots of space here to use to put your photographs on, and it closes up really nicely by just sliding this back up. Okay, on this right hand side, I used that Ecru sheet and then some sticker pieces here, so a couple photos of the dinner show. And then open it up and you have a flap pocket. So we have here a couple of our leftover pieces I used to go ahead and make some photo mats. And then I did some stickers on this one and used that Ecru sheet there for another spot for journaling or photo mat. And that just goes right in here. See how I just did the cutting of this paper all the way to the edge of the pocket, and then I just did a strip on this end, so it looks like a large page there. So you could also put some photos there if you'd like, but then turn over that pocket and you have a nice large page. And then in the center you have a little pocket here, good for those 4x6s. Put some journaling or some photos on the back of it. And then you have the 4x4 cut aparts here. You can put some photos on the back, and then again, stick some more photos in there if you have them. Alright, on this last side, on the right hand side, you have a couple of double waterfalls. So I tied this with the sheer ribbon. Isn't it pretty? It's a watermelon color. And this is using the 3x4 cut aparts from the collection. So I just stack them up and place them on here, and then you can put photos right on the back. So there's 4 down here that you can put photos on, and then you have a spot here, so that's 5 places for photos. And then up here, same count. So you have this. This is the back side of one of those one of those 3x4s. And enjoy the show. And then another one. So 10 photos on this page right here alone. So anyway, it's a very quick project to put together, and I think you will have fun with it. So let's get started with the tutorial. We're going to get started with my design team projects using the collection Anchors Aweigh by Photoplay. The first thing, if you watched my walkthrough of my package that I received, was that I got 2 heavyweight chipboard pieces that were 12 by 12. So I have cut those down with those 2 pieces to make get something ready for the first project I'm going to make, and this is going to be a trifold. And then I have enough for a second project, another mini album. So let me just give you some of the sizes. There are 3 pieces here that measure 6 inches by 8.5 inches. And then I have 2 pieces that are going to be the spines. One is 3/4 inches wide, the other is 1 inch wide, and of course both of those are 8.5 inches in height. And then these 2 pieces here are 6 by 6, and I have a spine that is 1.5 inches. And then left over, I have these 2 pieces here. This one measures 3.5 inches by 6 inches. So I'm going to be making a tag with that. And then this is going to be an ephemera piece. So this measures 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches square. And then of course I'm left with these pieces. So what do I do with these pieces? I put them in a little box right on my desk, and I use those because I cut those up and just glue them down in order to give height to different things. So it's very easy to cut these up, and so I use it together with little foam squares. So I'm going to set these aside for now, and we're going to get started with the trifold. The first thing we're going to do is cover this trifold. We're going to need 3 sheets that measure 8 inches wide by 10.5 inches tall, and then we're going to wrap those around. So you'll have 1 inch width on each end around the chipboard. You'll wrap that around, and then you need a piece for each of these spines of your cardstock, and that is going to measure 3 3/4 inches in width for this one, and 10.5 inches tall. And then this is going to measure 4 inches in width by 10.5 inches tall. So let me go ahead and get those cardstocks cut, and I will go ahead and glue those onto my chipboard pieces. I'm probably going to use some score tape sheets because it is very fast, so I encourage you to do that as well. I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I have all the chipboard pieces covered, you'll see that the 3 pieces that are 6 inches wide are all fully wrapped with the 1 inch all the way around it. Okay, this is basically the lay flat binding method, and all we're going to do is go ahead and glue these together. So I'm going to do that real quick. So we want to make sure that these 2 go together, and the way that I do that is like this. So I'm going to put these 3, flip it over, and I know these 2 go together. So I'm going to use my art glitter glue, and I am placing glue on this flap here. I do not place it all the way against the chipboard, and then I put just a little string of glue like so. And then I will go ahead and use my mat to line this up straight so that the bottom of the chipboard is straight. And I'll use the mat here to make sure the page is straight. I'm leaving about maybe 3/16 of an inch, something like that. I don't get too particular on it. The other way that I do this is on my scoreboard, and that can help you as well. If you want to try to keep it straight, you just use the edge of the scoreboard and tuck it up just like that, and you can also use the measuring part. So just like that, we're going to give it a good burnish here. Okay. And then we're going to do the same exact thing here. I'm going to place glue on this wing. And get my next piece. I'm going to go ahead and put a bead of glue on that edge there. And then I'm going to place this down as well. Also, I have a little bit hanging off here, so before the glue sticks, see, isn't that lovely how it allows you some playtime? I'm going to go ahead and trim this just a hair. Okay, let me quickly put it down again. This is how it's so forgiving to use the glue. It gives you a little working time. So I'm just going to burnish that down now. And now I have those two together. And essentially that's your lay flat album. So let me make sure that I give it some time for the glue to set up. Burnish it really well. I also do this. Okay, next one is going to be the next spine piece, and I forgot to mention the 1 inch is on the right hand side of what you're putting together, and the 3/4 inch is on the right side. So now I'm going to be putting these two together just like that. So let me make sure I don't have to trim. Just like that. You have your album together. Get that out of the way. Okay. Now, follow the cutting guide that's listed in the description, the video description below, and we're going to use that to go ahead and put all the page pieces together. But before we do that, I like to cover the spines. So let me get another scrap piece. This is 8.5, so I want it to be 8 3/8 inches tall, and we're going to go ahead and make each of them 4 inches. So let me cut this 8 inches first. Turn it 8 3/8 inches next. And I'm going to turn it back and cut this in half at 4. Okay, now we have 2 pieces that we can go ahead and glue down. So I'm going to place glue on my spine. That's how I like to do it. And then I set this down on top of the spine, pretty much just centered. And the key is to burnish this really well and go ahead and start working the cardstock into those grooves in between your chipboard pieces. What you should end up with is your paper starting to take shape up like that. So you can see, just like that. Okay. Then what I do is I really just bend this back, place glue on the wing, and then go ahead and burnish that down. Okay. Let's do the same thing for this side. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on this left side. That's how pliable it is. So now we have our folio just like this. You can see that 1/4 inch is just, it gives you a little bit of play right here. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do before, so I don't forget, is I'm going to go ahead and make a mark that I need ribbon, because I'm using that for my design, with my design team package, and ribbon here. Oops. Okay, that's on the right hand side. I'm going to have 2 waterfalls coming across, one in this direction, one in this direction, and then those will tie shut. Then when this comes in, I'm going to have a ribbon that wraps around the back side and that will attach to the inside front cover. So I'm going to go right at midway. So I'm going to write ribbon here. I'm going to write ribbon here. This is the back middle section. Okay, so hopefully that made sense, but we'll walk through it anyhow. So because I don't have any ribbon in the middle section, we're going to go ahead and do that first. I'm going to start with the pocket. The pocket is going to go down at the bottom in the center. Okay, so I'm going to place glue on the sides of my pocket and on the bottom. Both side flaps and the bottom flap. And then I'm going to line that right in the center and along the bottom edge. And go ahead and burnish. Okay. Now, let me get my ribbon. Okay, I have 1 yard of ribbon that is this watermelon color. And so I'm going to be cutting that in half. Just like that. Okay. And then I'm going to be using this to tie my waterfall together. But in order to make the most of the length, I'm going to cut this half in half. So basically I need 1 yard of ribbon for this part that gets cut in quarters. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and put this down here. I like to attach it with some double-sided tape. Okay, just like that. Let me do this one. Same thing here, and same thing here. Okay, and just like that. We're going to be gluing a piece down onto this that is the decorative paper, but for the waterfalls, this will allow me to tie a little bow around it. Okay, just like that. Okay, now I have the other ribbon. It's the gross grain. This is a doodlebug ribbon here, and I'm going to be tying this in a bow because that's how I want it to close. So this is how I try to figure out how much, where do I need to cut the ribbon generally. I will tie a bow like this. Doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be pretty. This is just for sake of measuring. And see what I want the tail lengths to be. I'll keep adjusting it down a little bit. And that's about the length that I want. Then I know I can cut this loop in half. Okay. And you'll see that these two are not usually the same length. But let's see how close it is. It's pretty darn close to be in half, so you might want to just call it good at doing it in half, cutting it in half. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here. I'm going to place my ribbon right on the inside of my front cover. And then the other piece, it's going to be right back here. I'm going to go ahead and double side tape this down as well. Now I know I have both of my ribbons on, so I don't forget to place them. And I got to cut them because that's definitely longer than I need. So why not go ahead and cut that now? Let me see how much this is. 8, 16. So you can cut off about 16 inches of ribbon and still have enough for this from the 1 yard. Okay, so I'll use those with the tags later on. All right, I'm going to work on the left-hand side. So you should have your pieces cut, and we're going to start out with those that measure 6 inches wide by 7 inches tall, and you scored it at 1/2 inch on the 6-inch side. And so the next thing we're going to do is put glue on that 1/2 inch strip, and then I'm going to go ahead and put one on the right-hand side. Okay, just up to the chipboard, but not beyond the chipboard. You don't want it in the gusset, okay? And just make sure you burnish that down really well. And then the other one you're going to glue, and we're going to put that down. If you're going to overlap some of your double-sided tape, you might want to take that portion off. But let's go ahead, and I am aligning this with the bottom and with the left-hand side of the chipboard piece. I'm just going to burnish that down. Okay, open it up, and let himself recover that double-sided tape so it doesn't stick like I was having mine do. Okay, now keep those open for a second, just so they're out of our way. You're going to have two pieces that measure 6 inches tall by 5 inches wide, and then on the 6-inch side you scored it at 1/2 inch as well. Okay, I'm going to place glue on that flap, and this one I'm going to center, and then I'm going to align the fold with the top portion of the chipboard piece. Okay. Now, because the chipboard is 6 inches wide, you should end up with a 1/2 inch on either side, just like that. Okay, and then the other one is going to go on the bottom. All right, now align the fold with the bottom this time. Okay. Go ahead and burnish that really well. Open it up and burnish. Okay. Now we're going to have those two side flaps that close. We'll have the bottom that comes up. We'll have the top that comes down. And the last piece you should have is a piece that measures 12 inches long by 2.5 inches wide. And this is actually going to be a wrap. So I'm going to just around the top and bottom section. So I'm going to go ahead and place this underneath the bottom flap and the top flap, and then you follow your score guide, and then you'll have a wrap like this. And what I'm going to do on that piece is I'm going to put glue just along the edge. That's a lot of glue, Nicole. Right there. And then on the inside of the other side of the flap. Make sure it's in frame. Yep. And then we overlap these just like that. Line the top and the bottom and burnish. So this should be a sliding mechanism that'll let you open it up and then fold this closed and hold everything on this side together. So, there we go. Trying to get this to dry. Okay. Nice and tidy. All right. The next section that I want to do is actually the flap. So you're going to pull your flap piece, and we're going to go ahead and place glue on that 1/2 inch score. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the fold, so turn that over, and I'm going to place the fold actually on the spine. So it's going to line up with the right hand side of the chipboard of that 1-inch spine. Okay, and line up your top and bottom just like that. So we are gluing the flap page, which will be a pocket page, to the spine. Okay, then you're going to have a pocket piece, and you're going to place glue. Getting stopped up again. Place glue on the pocket flaps, just like that. And we're going to place this down so that the bottom of the pocket is up against the fold, maybe a 1/16 off the fold of the piece that you just laid down. Okay, so it's in the open position. Let me put this underneath so you can see. Just like that. Okay, let me burnish this down. Sorry about the shaking. But what you end up with is a flat page that has a pocket on it, and that pocket width is 4 1/4 inches. Okay, so you have this flap. You have the flaps on the front page of the folio. This will be able to turn over. You have a pocket in the center. We're going to lay down our decorative paper, and then we're going to put our 2-piece waterfall here on the top. This will get held down, the waterfall will get held down by one of the 4x6 cards that we're going to place there. And then next we're going to work on the side waterfalls that will use the 3x4 cut aparts. So I'll be right back. Alright, now that I have this back side of the folio covered on the inside and I have my ribbons down, I'm going to take my pieces, and I do want to mention to you that height-wise on both sets of the pieces we cut for the side waterfalls, I've cut those down by about, not even 1/8 of an inch, but it wouldn't hurt if you cut it down to 1/8 of an inch. Just make sure that you're not over that 1/4 inch. Should be 4 1/4 inches. If you are, and it's worth it to do a dry fit, you want to be able to have both of these waterfalls on here without them kind of fighting each other, you know, so a little bit of extra space in between is going to help you. Okay, so let's go ahead and start on the top waterfall first. Okay, we're going to have the little page that measures 3 3/4 inches wide by 4 and just shy of 4 1/4 inches. We're going to go ahead and put glue on that 1/2 inch flap. Okay, and then I'm going to align this with the folded edge just on the left hand side, and I like a little bit of the colored paper to show, the decorative paper to show. So I am going to make sure that I'm aligned with the top of the album, because remember, this is going to be a tight fit and we want to make sure that we have a little bit of space in between these top and bottom waterfalls. Okay, the next one is going to be the double piece like this. It's a U, so you have a 1/2 inch score in the center, and we're going to go ahead and place glue on that, and that 1/2 inch gets placed right next to that first piece. Okay, I think my scoring is off just a hair on here, so let me straighten that out. I'm going to show that paper who's boss. Okay, let me scoot it up a little bit so it's up at the top of the page, and give it a good burnish there. Okay, now we have 3 waterfalls already on. I have 1 more left to do. So I'm back to the 3 3/4 inch piece by just shy of 4 1/4. And what we want to do is make sure that the cut side is tucked up against the waterfalls this time. That way it gives a nice clean opening right here when you lift up your waterfall. Okay, so let me go ahead and burnish that right at the top edge of my folio. Just like that, we have our first waterfall. So now I can tie this shut like so. Anyway, you get the point. Make a cute little bow right now. But that's it. And then I had already cut the cut aparts here. So next thing is you just want to work out which ones are you going to put where. I think I'm going to want the orange one on the bottom. this red one here. Don't know. Which one do you all like? Maybe I put the red one under here and the cocktail there. That might look good. I'm going to put the green here. Okay, got those in order. Now let's work from the right to the left. Okay, so we're going to start with the 3/4 inch wide piece. Again, I'm going to use the folded edge, put it right at the bottom of my page, but I'm going to leave a little bit of that the decorative paper showing underneath, because that is my preference. And you can see by just taking off that little smidgen, we're going to end up with a nice tiny gap in between these two waterfalls. And I don't want to be off my page, so I'm so glad that that glue gives you, a little bit of time to work with it. Okay, next is the double, the U-shaped piece. I'm going to go ahead and tuck that right next to this. Clean up that fold. That up. And now the last one. Remember to tuck it back. We want the cut edge this time, right up against the waterfall. Just like that. Let's see there, a nice clean opening there for another photo. And let's go ahead, why not? Let's go ahead and do some decorating, because this is such a quick and fun project. Okay, let's go ahead and cut a piece for the center section. Okay, now back to our piece. that is U-shape, but it's going to go right in the center, and this is sized for those 4x4 cut aparts. So this is the center waterfall. Finish that really nicely. Okay. Family cruise. What do you think? Time to travel down there. I think that looks nice. And then this is going to go in here. So let's do that real quick. There you go. Just like that. We have one more. And we can choose if we want to put that on, you know, put that on here, or if you want to put it on here. I am leaning towards not, and just using that on something else. But I might put it inside on the left. So let me think about that for a second. Okay. All right, what do we have left? We have these sheets here, and the back sides of them. Aren't those pretty? I have this one that's left, and then I have a couple of other smaller pieces as well that I don't want to forget about. So I'm going to use those to go ahead and decorate up my pages, and I will show you the finished product. But this is basically it. Closes in like this, closes over like that, and then you just tie it shut. Isn't that pretty? So maybe I'll use this one just on the front. Oh, I think I like that. I like the color behind it. What do you think, guys? Think I should do that? Okay. All right, so I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that you make one of these soon and go ahead and share. And you all check out Country Craft Creations for all of the fine papers, and until next time, happy crafting. Bye.